Well, excited to have the opportunity to go to Charlotte and play in the ACC championship game. I know it's going to be a huge challenge. I think Florida State's a very good football team. Uh, Hopefully, we'll have a good week of preparation and go up there and put on a pretty good show. That's our intention. Excited to be having a chance to play in the game. It's a great opportunity for us.
I guess it's been a while since their defensive coordinator has faced your style of offense. Does it make you have to prepare for more things this week in terms of
Well,
what they might
I
look?
think they'll stay within their base alignment, but we don't know for sure. I mean, did you find when's the last time he played against it?
I think it might have been at Houston or something.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But the I wouldn't imagine in 3 days they'll get too far away from what they do defensively. They've had so much success. I mean, they're top 10 in every category, and I'm sure they're going to do what they do. I don't think they'll make a lot of wholesale changes.
Well, how would you describe the mood of the team right now? And as you look at what you all did accomplish in the conference,
Right.
the losses were real close. I mean, this is kind of a winner-take-all.
It's been
Interesting situation.
it's been a grind year. I mean, it has, and I think we expended a lot of energy getting back to where we got at the end. The last game's an emotional game with a rival. We would have liked to have played better, but we'll see where the mood of the team is today. Really, when you come to practice, I mean, I'm sure that there was disappointment off Saturday. But you got to move forward. You got to, they've been fairly resilient for a young football team. I mean, they've bounced back a couple of different times when it could have gone south and put forth the energy and fought to come back. So I think they realize that they've got a good opportunity in front of them, and hopefully we'll prepare that way and, go up there and give it our best shot. It's why you play the game.
You didn't have Orwin for the Georgia game. What did you see from the guys that stepped in for him?
There was some good and bad, just like with everybody else. I think that I wouldn't say they played any better, any worse than any other position. There were some positives and some stuff that wasn't as good, just like with every spot. But there is some depth at that position, so. Hopefully we'd love to have Orwin play. He's one of our better players, but if he doesn't play, you can't worry about it. You have to move on. Somebody else has to go play.
Seems like longer you're in this business, you see things you never would expect are going to come along. But if someone had told you at the beginning of the year that you could be in the playing for the Orange Bowl or maybe not getting in a bowl game, is it just kind of crazy, or do you? How do you kind of size up the whole situation?
Yeah, it's been a different year. I mean, it's it's really been a tale of like almost two different seasons. The first part, we lost a couple of close games, and I think it really affected us. Came back, bounced back, got in the conference schedule, and played a little better. It's been a different type year. I mean, we've actually played far better in the conference than we have outside it. Normally, that's usually not always the case. I mean, normally you pick up 2 or 3 wins outside the conference, and then you have your conference record. This time we didn't. Like I said, really the only conference game that we played that we gotten beat double digits, we were still ahead in the fourth quarter at Clemson, and they're one of the better teams. But the way the season's unfolded, it's been a grind. It's been a grind on the kids. I mean, when you lose those close games like that early, you have to you dig yourself a hole and you have to fight out.
I guess kind of in retrospect now, it seems like the team responded after you fired Coach Groh, and that kind of maybe turned season around, do you think there was? Do you feel better about the decision A, and do you think it?
I don't think firing Coach Grove had anything to do with the team responding. I think that they can, we played and continued to move forward. I think they've been pretty resilient with how they've approached pretty much all year. So it's a situation where you play yourself into an opportunity to have a chance to play for the conference championship. I think if somebody had asked, would you take that at the beginning of the year, you would have said, yeah. Would you have dreamed it would have been with the record? Probably not. But the conference record is not that much difference than a lot of teams who have played in the conference championship game. I mean, if you go back and look, there have been several teams at 5-3 in the ACC who have played in the championship game. The difference is they had 3 wins outside the league, and they were probably sitting at 8 or 9 wins.
Coach, how are you going to explain to a young team you're playing Florida State, but you're also playing a championship game? Is there a magic motivator there, or how are you going to approach those separate but equals?
I think they understand they're playing a championship game, and that's what it is a championship game. And just so happens to be against Florida State that's a good team. There aren't very many championship games where you aren't going to play a good team. So it's, in 2009 when we played Clemson, they were a really good team. Most of the time when you play in those games, you're going to be pitted against good teams. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a team getting bowl eligible and then subsequently becoming bowl ineligible?
No.
So you would be a trendsetter.
Well, if that happens, and again, the only thing I know is what I'm told by administration that it could happen, but I think that you guys are having more fun with that than there might actually be. But I could be wrong about that.
Really not that much fun, actually.
Well, it's not for me, but
We're trying to figure it out.
well,
I guess kind of with what happened in 2009 and kind of how you guys lost the title in terms of technical things, is this an opportunity to kind of for the guys to redeem themselves? We have 7 guys I think that played significant roles on the team on this team. And
what's an opportunity to win a conference championship? And if you go back and you look through the history, I mean, what they won in 1990 and 2009. So it's not like that opportunity, has been there every year. It's not like that we've won a zillion conference championships here. So you have that opportunity again. And it's like we talked about on Monday when I talked to the team. There's a lot of teams in the country that would love to change places with you and have a chance to go play in that conference championship game. So it's, like I said, is it a challenge? Sure. Playing a really good team, but it's also an opportunity.
You talked about the grind that this has been on your guys. Did some of that start to show in Sanford Stadium the other day, or was that just a bad day?
I think that I could say whatever, but whatever I say, it turns into an excuse or blaming somebody else. So I'll just let you guys figure it out. It's, you can't win that one. We lost the game, so we lost the game. So it's, I think that what happened is the game got away from us really quickly. And when that happens with a young team, sometimes it's hard to respond. And it got away really quickly, You
were talking last week about Georgia's defense and the players they have, NFL potential. These guys are pretty darn good.
They're probably
quarterback
better up front.
Okay.
The linebackers are good. Both teams got really good players. Florida State's probably got, 3 or 4 first-round picks on the defensive line, I would think, when and if they decide to go. One of them probably got hurt in the last game. That's a first-round pick. The other defensive end might be a top 5 pick. And I think their inside guys are pretty good too, in the depth they have. So they got a lot of good players, and their linebackers and secondary are good players too. But Florida State, when is the last time Florida State didn't have good players? I mean, I don't remember. When we played them in 08 and 09, they had really good players too.
You're looking at getting ready for the game now. And that's kind of a Paul Johnson question. What's your belief in what you have to do to score more points? What do you?
Well, I think we have to show up and play. We got to play with great energy and effort. We got to execute, and clearly we're going to have to score some points offensively. You have to win every game. Defensively, what you're trying to do is get a few stops and maybe some turnovers, and we get into our kind of game where it's a kind of grinded game. There's not a lot of possessions where the stops become premium. If you get 4 or 5 stops, it's a big deal, or turnovers or whatever. So, but that's the way you got to play every game. I don't think you can approach this one any differently.
There was a lot less players on the ground in the Georgia game as opposed to the previous 3. Was that a result of their front 7 as opposed to what the offensive line did?
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think it's a combination of athleticism. They're good athletes, and quite honestly, we probably didn't throw as much as we had in the other games. So it's probably a combination of things.
To this point, your seniors, how would you summarize what they've accomplished over the last 4 seasons?
Well, I think it's still ongoing. I mean, you still got games to play. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it.
And this season, it's funny to kind of ask this, given that you're playing for a conference championship, but you've obviously had some tough losses too. Does it feel to you like this team was underachieved, or do you feel differently?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if we can win the conference championship, it'd be hard to say they underachieved. Did we win as many games as we would have liked? No. I mean, I think everybody wants to win every week, but newsflash, it doesn't happen. But it doesn't mean you accept it when it doesn't. I mean, you push forward and you try to go on. You can make a case either way. You talk about the seniors. What in the 5 years that some of them have been here, I mean, they've either won or tied for the division championship 3 times. You wouldn't know that. You'd think the sky was falling, but it's like that's probably better than they've done here in a while. So they've had some good wins, and they've had some very tough losses. I mean, along the way, it's been up and down, which is kind of the way it is most of the time, a lot of places.
Yes, I guess Sunday was sort of a black Sunday. There was a lot of coaches fired around the country. And, we've talked off and on this year about expectations from fans, expectations from administration. And you just sort of touched on this. Do you feel like it's getting out of hand and people aren't giving coaches enough time to do their jobs, and that the expectations are getting out of whack in general?
Nobody asked me. It's not for me to figure out. Other people can figure that out. I mean, you guys figure it out. What do you think? I mean, it's kind of goes with the business, I guess. There's expectations involved. Whether they're realistic or not doesn't matter. There are expectations involved, and it can change weekly. Can change. Gosh, I mean, I can remember 2 years ago, the guy was getting ready to play for the conference championship, maybe the national championship. They were ready to run him out. So it changes. It goes weekly.
I guess sort of along those lines, did you envision this, sitting here after that Clemson game, that there was a scenario where you guys would have an opportunity to play in this game?
Honestly, I didn't think about it, no. My goal for the second half of the season was, like I said, I wanted to try to make sure that we played better, got the ship righted, and tried to make sure that we got ourselves bowl eligible. That was the push. I thought that was a realistic goal for our football team going into the second half of the year, sitting at 2-4. And as we started playing and winning, and you looked at the conference stats or standings, it became apparent that it could happen. And all we could do was win each week, and then see what happened. And that's what the kids did. They found a way to win their last 4 conference games, and it ended up unfolding that way.
Manuel's obviously had a great career and put together another good season. How do you kind of size up what they've been able to do offensively?
Well, I think that he's an experienced player, got a lot of athleticism, can keep things alive, make big plays. They've also got a good supporting cast. They got good receivers. Got a bevy of running backs. They lost their starter at the season, who was really, really good. But you replace him with the other guys are also good. You got the Wilder kid, who's hard to get down. I mean, everybody has a hard time getting him on the ground. They've got other backs that are quick, fast. So they've got a lot of weapons.
Over the offseason, do you do any scouting of the teams in the other side of the division, and its division you might play them in a conference championship, or?
No.
Another question. I assume you're talking about Warner when you're talking about the kid who could go in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? What is what are his strengths?
Well, he's got great quickness off the ball. He's a tremendous pass rusher. He plays with a relentless motor. He's just a good football player. He makes plays. I mean, I think that's what they look for on the next levels, those guys that can get to the quarterback, and he's pretty good at it.
When a team like Florida last week has some success running the ball, is there anything you can take from that, or is what you guys kind of different and it really doesn't apply?
We're going to run the ball. I mean, that's what we do. So, I think they went into the Florida game either second or third in the country in rush defense, and they'll come in the top 10. But it's what we do. And we're not going to change in 1 week because you play a team that's good against the run. You don't change what you do. We feel like that if we go out and we execute and play the way we're capable of playing, that we can move the ball. And we'll see. That's why you play the game.
Is there something you can take from what Florida did that you can apply for?
Well, maybe formations, maybe certain thing, but it's different. I mean, they're not running the same things we're running.
I guess, is there some encouragement in terms of, we talked a little bit yesterday about the B-backs and how they're performing and how they did against Georgia. That was sort of the one bright spot, I guess, of the day, particularly David's play.
Well, I think that if you go back and you look again, you can interpret it any way you want, but the 20-20, we moved the ball pretty good. I mean, we ran 88 plays. It wasn't like there was a lot of 3 and outs and you're over here. What we didn't do was finish, and we didn't get any points. That's the frustrating thing. To their credit, they didn't give up a lot of big explosive plays that were long touchdown plays, and they kept it. We had to grind and grind and grind, and when that happened, we couldn't finish. But there were some positives in it that we moved the ball. It wasn't like we trotted out there and we ran 3 plays and it was 4th and 10 and you punted, and then you went back out and you ran 3 plays and it was 4th and 9 and you punted, and so there was some positive things, just not enough to finish or to stay in the game like we needed to stay in the game. that game was not a great deal differently than the last 3 or 4 games we've played, except we couldn't keep serve. You know, we did this, the first drive. If you go back and you look, we went right down the field, 85 yards, boom, boom, boom. And then they take it out of our hands on the 2-yard line, and they go up 14-0. We take the next drive, we go right back down the field again. But we got stopped, we have to kick a field goal. It's 14-3. So literally we got broken twice. And then when they came back the third time and we didn't answer, then it started going south. When that happened in other games, it had been answered. You know, it would go back and forth and somebody broke and we weren't the ones who broke. This time, they, to their credit, or to our demise, we broke.